Well, hello. I am so excited right now because I have here with me G. Smokey Campbell, and he will be performing Shady. Is it Shady or Shade?
It's Shady, Shady.
Shady. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay, so Shady at the Black Voices Solo Theater Festival that's happening this Sunday. He will be performing this Sunday. Yes, yes. And it is 6 p.m. Yes,
Yeah,
6 p.m.
yeah.
PST. And so I'm going to read a little bit about him. G. Smokey Campbell, he's a veteran actor of TV, film, stage. Smokey studied and performed with the famous Negro Ensemble Company of New York, starred as Melvin Williams in the PBS television series Watch Your Mouth, that was produced by the creative television soul, Mr. Ellis Hazlip, then left his side hustle working at the New York Stock Exchange to come out here to California and further his career in the entertainment industry. While enjoying a successful acting career and celebrated with NAACP the Image Awards, he obtained degrees in radio, TV, broadcasting from Los Angeles City College, as well as degrees in drama and film production from the University of Southern California. His growing screen time was interrupted when he decided to become a full-time Hollywood studio lighting technician. Undaunted, Smokey is back before the lens and on the boards delivering magic. Smokey keeps his improv and comedy chops strong at the Second City Hollywood grad and stand-up performer. He was last seen performing in the Hollywood Fringe Festival of 2019. He and the renowned Robert DiTillo killed in Robert Cart Gardner's Play Death Unit. This is the second solo show that Smokey has premiered in Hollywood, the first being Frederick Douglass Unexpected, written by Stephen Blackburn. This premiere of Shady, Smokey is the writer, performer, and producer. When not performing, Mr. Campbell uses his experience to create and produce content for stage and digital productions that will both educate and inspire proactiveness. So you have quite a resume here. And it seems like, like a lot of artists, we do a lot of things, right? And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, right. So I wanted to just ask you, well, first I'll ask you, what inspired you to become an actor in the first place?
It's I guess selfishly, I think it's the attention.
Hmm.
Not selfishly seeking attention, but enjoying the attention, when you found yourself performing. Now, as youngsters, we were always performing in the schoolyard, in our little circles and stuff. And, when you enjoy all the satisfaction and the appreciation you get. So when it's like, oh, well, am I funny, or they like when I'm doing this? So I guess I enjoyed entertaining because of the joy that it seemed to give others.
Hmm. And then did that change for you then? I mean, I'm sure it has, that like your reason for creating art and performing and all of that is, has changed since then. What would
Well,
you say it is now?
Well, very much so. Now I enjoy creating art, or I look to create art, performance art, as a means to inspire
Hmm.
and to educate.
Yeah.
I've always felt my calling, if you were to use a word such as that, was to be a teacher or to share. And that's what we as performers do. We share and we teach by the material that we deliver and the material that we create. So that's what continues to inspire me as a performer, as a creator, wanting to do films, wanting to do stage. And so now I find myself, when I'm not working for somebody else, I'm trying to create work for myself as a vehicle of visibility and as a means to say I did something, and you know what, it kind of has something to say, and it kind of made sense, and wow. So I guess that's what my inspiration, what my drive is.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So I want to talk a little bit about the Negro Ensemble Company because
Oh.
I, I mean, famous, is an understatement. Um,
Hmm.
so tell me a little bit about the Negro, your experience there.
My experience, I don't want to just make up any kind of word, but I mean, you can't put all the weight on it. I want to say it's kind of unweighted in that I went to the Negro Ensemble Company when the Negro Ensemble Company was offering the experience of teaching theater and experiencing studying with our African American, our Black African stars and creators of performing arts and the history that we have today. So I studied with Douglas Turner Ward, Stephen Carter, who just recently passed, rest in peace. I studied behind the TV stars, from before, Robert Hooks. There's a list, of course. I don't need to try to name them all, but I was fortunate enough to study with the artists and learn the ways of the stage. And they were teaching just a young man from Brooklyn, New York. So, I was about the D's, them, dats, and those until I learned, no, it's these, them, that's, and those. TH, that's the way. So
Right.
it provided me with an experience. It provided me to work off Broadway. I was able to work, work with stars, Barbara Montgomery and B.B. Hooks and Lawrence Fishburne, and there were a lot of people that came through the Negro Ensemble Company. I was there for 3 years, and during the 3 years where I was fortunate enough to be chosen to study in their intern program, I was also able to work the stages, the main stages, and work off Broadway. So it was great. It was fantastic. And it was so beneficial because it kept this young man off the streets.
Right.
Like I said, I was running in Brooklyn and being able to get on the train and head on over to St. Mark's Place and experience something different, something new, and then share with other people that wasn't just talking about the other extracurricular conversations and activities, that was happening in the urban streets. So the Negro Ensemble educated me. It helped me become a mature man, a smarter man, and a much more knowledgeable man. And I was able just to take that, in my journeys as I went. And I found that with the basis that I had at the Negro Ensemble Company, I was ready for anything. I'm not gonna say I was better than anybody, but I was ready for anything.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I have a story about the Negro Ensemble Company. I recently found out within the last year, I would say, I think it was last summer, that my father auditioned for the Negro Ensemble. And my father he's a Seventh-day Adventist. Well, he unfortunately passed away back in January of this year. And so last summer we were talking about it. I knew that he wanted to be an actor when he was young, when he first came here, because he's from Nevis originally. um but he was just telling me about that. I was like, to even audition for it, whether you got it or not, I feel like that's like that's a great thing,
Yeah, it
so.
is. I mean, that's the thing as we actors as well. It's just like the audition and the job. You didn't get the job, but that means that you weren't good because you didn't, all you got was the audition. We tend not to give ourselves the credit, that we deserve, because the struggle is getting there. What happens after that is not in our control. But the fact that we got there and we did our due, I mean, that's the important thing. And speaking of due and Nevis, were you familiar with Steve Carter's play Nevis Mountain Dew?
Yes, I am. Were you in it?
No, I didn't get a chance to perform it, but I had, been with Steve. As a matter of fact, myself and a group of other Bedford-Stuyvesant students were under the mentorship of Steve Carter for a while. As Steve Carter became, like the hands-on playwright
Hmm.
for the Negro Ensemble Company, he reached out and was tutoring and mentoring a group of other students. This group of students was from Bedford-Stuyvesant. We were part of the Weeksville United Actors Company.
Uh-huh.
Bedford-Stuyvesant used to be called Weeksville. But
Oh,
anyway, we were part of a street group of people who got together and became an acting workshop and an ensemble for many, many years. And Steve Carter took us under his tutelage, just to teach us, how to read, how to read a play, how to construct, how to break it down, how to find where you're going to be.
Right.
And how to speak the speech.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of speak the speech, I went to Performing Arts High School in Manhattan, and so
Yes, yes.
yes, and I was just telling someone this the other day because, depending on who I'm talking to or what comes out, the New York comes out, right? It'll come out. But before I went to Performing Arts High School, my New York accent was so thick. And they taught us, it's like Eastern Standard Speech and, voice and diction and da da da. So got rid of that New York accent. I mean, it didn't ever, obviously, but but I just learned how to, it's like you know how to, what is it, adjust to wherever you are, right?
Right, you adjust, you assimilate. That's all we do, and you go through all of that, And we come from New York, trying to refine that, trying to take off that hard edginess, and then they tell you, oh, well, you ain't New York enough. So you get caught, just like people with dialects and accents, which I'm glad today in terms of just diversity and inclusion and just the reception. It's like, no, everybody doesn't have to speak the Queen's English. Everybody is not speaking American culture. So the fact that, you're not discriminated against because you got a thick accent, where now it's more accepted or even encouraged, I think it's a very beautiful thing.
It is. So, so what inspired you to become a solo show artist? How did that even come about? Because doing a solo show, as you know, is daunting for a lot of actors, and it's a hard thing to do. Not anybody can do it. So where did that come from, the inspiration to do that?
Amen. The inspiration came from goals. Muhammad Ali had a quote, and I don't want to mess it up. I can't speak it verbatim, but Muhammad Ali is like, well, how'd you get to where you going, and why, what's making you get to where you going? And it's about goals and never giving up on goals. So for myself, I'm not the youngest actor as I used to be, and I'm not being hired to play the younger roles that I used to. But for me, creating a solo show was a vehicle of visibility.
Yeah.
That's why I created that, because I have created this solo show, which is 90 minutes long today, is the plan. It started as a seed 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, it started initially as just a monologue, just a little actor's exercise in class, create a little monologue. And from that monologue, it birthed to a short play, a 10-minute play, 30-minute play, a play that I was going to put on for the Fringe Festival. And then I was telling myself, I like what I've written. And in this world of busyness and professionals, it's hard to keep a group of people together for rehearsals, for a run, especially if they're not making a wage that they think they should be making a wage for the efforts that they're giving. So I found the best way to get done what I wanted to get done was to do it myself. So I reconstructed the play of all of these characters and created a one-man show, because I felt that, not that nobody couldn't do it like me, but I felt I could do it. I need to do it for myself so other people can see what I can do. And I can be happy doing what I can do. And then after the solo show is created, it becomes one vehicle. We make it a digital production, and then it lives on its own in perpetuity for it to do what it's going to do. Yeah. However, it becomes marketed, which is what we're in here to do, to market ourselves, to market our work. So doing a solo show allowed me a vehicle of visibility so I could display that which I can do, allowed me to get it filmed as best as I can get it filmed as a producer, and then have that market itself and keep on keeping on. So what am I doing next? Well, yeah, that was hard. I mean, every time I work on it, I'm just so happy when the thing is done. It's such a weight. It's like, oh,
Right, right.
You
So
know, but you move on to the next episode. So I'm still writing, creating. I mean, I got short films and little short plays, and I got a web series I'm working on,
okay.
you know, so it's just about, you know, putting it out there and doing what you do, because especially now with the platforms that we have and the technology that we have, there's no reason to do what you say you want to do. So what is it? Actors act. I'm going to act,
Hmm.
and I'm going to do all that I can do and not wait for somebody to do it for me,
Yeah.
and accept my blessings and be happy that I validated myself.
Yeah, beautiful, beautifully said. So I just want to hear a little bit more about Shady. So let's tell us what it's about and how you were inspired to create that particular story.
Shady is about an activist wrongfully imprisoned, and he tells his story about what happened to him. And the reason why he's wrongfully imprisoned is because he's caught up in the corruption within the city of Shady that snatches freedoms by political corruption, privatization of prisons, gentrification. See, all of the evils, the structural evils of society today that we all face, this man's got caught up in it. He's an activist because he's protesting for equal justice. He's protesting for the same humanity that we all deserve. He's a nonviolent protester, but he gets caught up in the shady corruption and he's wrongfully imprisoned. How so? You'll have to tune in. But during this dramedy, we learn the kinds of things that affected him, and it's so timely because it affects us today. Structural racism, systemic racism, racial covenants, which are red line zones, things like that. So those issues within the play Shady came out and were addressed because that is what he was experienced just as a regular guy trying to live a regular life who got caught up not only in this corruption, but he just got caught up in a lot of bad luck. I think we all can experience bad luck. It's like, why did it happen to me? Why I don't deserve this bad luck.
Right.
I'm a good guy. I'm a good person. Why I get all this bad luck? You know, we ask that rhetorically. We ask that of the Most High. Why me? What is the answer? It's you because it's you. Now, what are you going to do with that?
Right.
And hopefully it's because of you that it prompts you, it makes you proactive to discover your purpose, to have something positive come out of that. So the monologue was about a guy who's just got bad luck. I got so much bad luck and now I'm in prison because of my bad luck. But creating a show, I had to provide backstory and incidents and empathy and things that he experiences to justify where he's at and why he's at. So yeah, you're gonna come and you'll see a man who was wrongfully imprisoned, and yeah, you'll empathize with him because those are your experiences too. You know, why can't your child go to school? And you try to get your child in school, you get in prison. You can't pay for your child's education and get 2 months at a prison of your choice. So it's the same evils that we faced and we've been facing for years.
Yeah. So my question is, when did you start writing this? Because, it's so interesting that you're premiering this at a time right now. I mean, not that all of this wasn't going on in the past, but it's, very much in the forefront right now again. So,
Yeah.
so when did you start writing it?
I'll address the latter question latter.
Okay.
When I started writing it again, it was about the same type of things. It was about he got wrongfully imprisoned mainly because this city deals in the privatization of prisons. That was the initial seed, the initial thread of this piece, the privatization of prisons.
And I was going to say, is this based on anyone in particular, or this is just, completely made up? Like, how did you?
It's completely fiction.
Okay.
but the incidences are similar.
Yeah.
It's not my life, but the incidences are similar.
Mhm.
And that's what was the key, the similitude to everything.
Mhm.
And the fact that convict leasing, privatization of prisons, what they're doing today to minorities, how minorities fill up all the prisons, and how they're using prisons today for cheap labor today, they was doing that hundreds of years ago. So my talking about him having experienced that, yeah, it just echoes today because it's never changed. So here we go again, art imitating life. So it didn't take such a brainstorm moment for me, some wizardry to say, ooh, I'm gonna come up with this topic because no one's ever thought about this before.
Yeah.
No, it was, I'm gonna speak on this topic because many people have experienced this before.
Mhm.
I began writing it, as I said, as a monologue 2 years ago. So from seed to fruition, from seed to tree, it was 2 years. Now, obviously, when we write, we're not writing every day. You know, we're acting, we're doing other things. So I've workshopped a piece a little bit here and a little bit there. And again, I began workshopping it as a play, maybe a short film. But then it was like COVID came, because I was going to do this for the Fringe. I was going to do the solo show for the Fringe 20. COVID came. I was always going to film it. So the opportunity to take advantage of what you're doing, of
Mhm.
how you're offering artists a vehicle of visibility, a venue to stream our performances, was heaven sent. So
Yeah.
that's how it got to be where it is now.
Perfect. Perfect. So, and you're working with Jessica Lynn Johnson. How has that been? Because she helped you develop it, right?
Yes, Jessica Lynn Johnson, solo artist herself, and a solo artist, helper, performer, director, and developer. Yes, she's worked with me on the project. After the Fringe Festival was no longer going to happen, I was able to connect with Jessica by way of another colleague friend of mine who's taking classes with Jessica, trying to develop, as he's developing his solo show. Jessica offers classes. When I tuned in and audited one of Jessica's classes, I was immediately enamored and I immediately connected with the way and what she was doing. And so I've been with Jessica developing this for the last few months. This is my second time. I performed it in August. So it's been about four months that Jessica has been with me directing and developing, adding her expertise and nuances.
Nice. Beautiful. Cool. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. And excited to have a conversation with you afterwards.
Absolutely. And let me say again, I know this is my time, but it's your time because again, you're presenting us, you're providing it, you're curating us, you're gathering us together. But I thought your performance in Judgment Day was just spectacular. Okay, so if no one else has seen it, you better get the replay or the pay-per-view and see some magic happen before your eyes. So thank you so much, Julia, for bringing us together and providing this opportunity. Thank you very much, for this little talk and chat.
Shout out to Brian Rasmussen at the Whitefire Theatre as well for providing the space and stepping to me with the idea of doing this. So it's been a collaboration. So thank you. Thank you for joining me on this artist chat. And I'm inviting you guys to go get your ticket now to see Shady, written and performed by G. Smokey Campbell and developed and directed by Jessica Lynn Johnson. And it's going to be 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock on Sunday, the 11th, coming up in 2 days.
Right. And please buy your tickets before 6 o'clock because you'll have a treat.
Yes, and that's the other thing too, and the way it works at the Whitefire with Black Voices, and also any of the live streaming, is that if you buy your ticket before showtime, the link will be good for 48 hours afterwards. So there's no excuse if you're like, oh, I got plans on Sunday. No. All right.
You got 48 hours. You can watch it again. You can have a watch party with your friends. for
Yeah.
48 hours. 1 ticket, 2 days of watching. Come on, y'all. Help support us artists and activism.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you, Smokey. And
Thank you, Juliet.
all right.
See you soon.
Okay. Bye.